I thought there might be some interest in a short presentation on FM amateur radio operations in HOA restricted communities. This is the station that I have set up in my home office, and you can see that I do have some HF capability here. I actually have another video regarding my gutter and downspout antenna. You might want to have a look at that. But for today's purposes, we are going to be centered around the QYT KT8900 2-meter rig that is located down on the lower, well, it's actually in the center of this slide, but it's the lower right of the radio stack. Okay, this next slide shows a graphical representation of the 450 ohm ladder line Slim Jim antenna that I chose for this particular application. I had all of the materials readily available in my shop in the basement. There's a link on the right of this slide. Some very concise instructions. They did a great job on Ham Universe. Kilo Echo 4 November uniform contributed the directions for this particular antenna, and you can see that it's 58 inches in overall length. It's constructed, as I said, from a 450 ohm ladder line. It's called a Slim Jim antenna. It has a matching section out of that 58 inches of 19 inches. It's essentially a folded dipole, and you can see that there is the coax feed line is attached in the lower portion of the ladder line to achieve a 50 ohm match with this particular antenna. Now you could also fabricate a 10 meter, 6 meter, or even a 70 centimeter or other antennas using the same basic design with different measurements. Now, I didn't actually video the actual construction of this antenna, but this is the final product, and as you can see, I have it hanging right in the front yard, hidden behind a tall evergreen tree, with basically just I zip tied it to one of the branches. And I was actually very surprised with the performance of this antenna. And as you can see at the bottom, you will see that I wound some coax around a 1-inch piece of PVC as an RF choke, which is absolutely mandatory for this application. I connected it to a short run of coax, and I basically just passed it through the window right into my shack. So this is right outside of my shack. Okay, in this slide you can see that RF choke that I mentioned in the previous slide, and you can see how I attached, just made a very simple connection, the coax to the ladder line, and that's about 1¼ inches from the end. That was what was recommended, and it actually worked just fine when I went ahead and did a VSWR check. Okay, so this is a sweep of the SWR reading. I got this Nano VNA analyzer. It's a wonderful little instrument. Only cost right around $50. I got it off of eBay, and I've been really happy with this. I have a rig expert for my HF antennas. It's a very nice unit. It was very much more expensive than $50, but it works fine. I didn't have anything for the higher frequencies, so I picked one of these up, and I was very surprised at how very accurate it is, how easy it is to use. And as you can see here, that blue line above the yellow line would be an SWR of 2.0 to 1, and you can see that I did the sweep from 143 megahertz through 148 megahertz, and I have the little pointer on 145.4 megahertz, and that's not the lowest, but it's just right about at the dip of this, and you can see that it's 1.5 to 1, which is just fine and very acceptable for my purposes. Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for, and that is the actual test of this Slim Jim antenna. And I went ahead and transmitted into several repeaters, all of which were greater than 15 miles away. One of them was close to 30 miles away. You must keep in mind that this is a 2-meter antenna, the 2-meter version. It does not match up very well on 70 centimeters, 440 megahertz band. And so you'll see that there's an example here of one of the 440 megahertz repeaters that I actually did not get into. And I apologize ahead of time for the video quality here. It's not that great. I used my phone to video this. Here we go.
W3 DDS testing. W3 DDS testing. W3 DDS testing. Okay, didn't make it into that one. W3 DDS testing.
Okay, also keep in mind that this transceiver, the QYT KT8900, it's only putting out maybe 20 watts at the most. So I was actually pretty impressed with the results for this antenna. And again, it took no more than a half hour for me to construct it. It was a lot of fun building it, even more fun using it. And this might be something that you might want to consider if you're in a similar situation where you're in an HOA community and you can't have visible antennas. So I would like to thank you for watching the video. You can subscribe and like the video. It would be great. And thank you very much. 7-3.